Hi, I'm Christian Bell. I'm from Better Boating, a Tasmanian website looking at lowering the environmental impacts in Tasmania. Today we're going to discuss sewage and sewage disposal in Tasmania and as it relates to recreational vessels. When we had a relatively low number of people out there recreating, it wasn't as big a problem as it is now. We've had a boom, and essentially we do need to keep places in Tasmania clean and pristine. And people do have a right to recreate in places free from discharge from vessels. I mean, if you're kayaking, if you're swimming, if you're doing a range of recreation activities, you don't really want to have something floating past that shouldn't be there, essentially. Potentially you could have things like hepatitis caused by the discharge from vessels. We've had some recent incidents involving sewage at marine farms. These incidents turned out to be from shore-based leaks, but it could easily have occurred through vessels operating adjacent to marine farms, and it's really a matter of public health. It's true that in Tasmania that there are unique environments such as Bathurst Harbour, Port Davey, a really low nutrient marine environment where the discharge of sewage would be incredibly irresponsible. The law is basically you can't discharge any sewage anywhere in Tasmania from a recreational vessel or commercial vessel for that matter, whether it's in sheltered waters or short waters that are basically offshore. The law as it stands is basically there is no discharge allowed from vessels. The options we have are either traditional holding tanks, which are located aboard the vessel and are where the waste is appropriately stored and later disposed of. There are 3 places in Tasmania where you can legally pump out. They are at St Helens, at the Port of Hobart, and also at Port Huon. The other options are porta potties, a very useful thing to have, particularly on small vessels such as trailer sailors, where you can actually use it in a very short amount of time and take it safely back to shore. And now, interestingly enough, another option has developed recently, and that is the case that you can use a marine composting toilet. I think they're a great option actually because they take very little to retrofit on board the average vessel. We find here in Tasmania that we often have older vessels which don't actually have room for holding tanks, in which case a marine composting toilet can be fitted to your vessel in the space of a couple of hours. I find they're a good option. When we look at it, many boating users don't average more than a night or two anyway on board their vessels, and even if your boat is fitted with the traditional marine toilet, it is a good option to take a portable toilet with you in most cases and most circumstances. With the porta potties, you can actually dispose of it in your existing sewage system. With the more environmentally friendly compounds, you can do that whether it's one directly fixed to the sewer, or alternatively, if you operate a toilet with a septic tank at home, you can basically dispose of the contents through there, or you can use the dump stations that are normally kept for recreational vehicles that you see around Tasmania in various council areas. If you're living on boat, the best thing to do is basically make use of the shower and toilet facilities available at marinas in the state. Many people nowadays basically live on their boat at a marina, which is far the most convenient thing to do rather than being at a swing mooring, for example. So, really it's best to use those facilities where they're present and basically make sure that the wastes are appropriately disposed of. Apart from the toilets, it's also a good thing to do in terms of showering, for example, because grey water and the nutrients contained in grey water are also a bit problematic in some locations. Pump out toilets, well, fixing a pump out toilet is probably one of the worst jobs that you can have in terms of operating of any vessel of any sort. No matter what you do, they always seem to go wrong. The maintenance issues are quite often quite problematic. People find that whatever you do, there are visitors who come on board your vessel and operate it without knowing how to do it properly, no matter how often you tell them. And many a vessel has basically been sunk by people leaving the pump on. I would say that marine composting toilets are basically the best option for many users. And for people who are only occasionally using their vessel, then I would say that it's worthwhile just getting a porta potty and using that if you're just a very occasional user, as most boating users are of their vessel. I think it is time that us Tasmanians lifted our game. And essentially, we really do have to care for our marine environment.